We grew up in the suburbs. I went to a private school. My mom had me in soccer and dance class. We were so normal that my mom was a basketball coach and she drove a minivan. I didn't know at the time my mom was running a massage parlor. She was a madam.
I did live a double life.
When I was a kid, I thought my parents owned a construction company.
My business was never around, never brought home. That was separate and secretive. But then the police would get warrants and start searching my house.
We would randomly go to a hotel 3 or 4 times a year. And then we would come home. The house had been destroyed. Things were just flipped over and there was stuff everywhere. Our parents never told us why that had happened. It was just normal to clean it up. Later, I had learned that it was from the police who had done a raid on the house. I remember going to my 15th birthday party and my mom showed up. It looked like she had been in a brawl. Her tooth was kind of hanging, her face was black and blue. My mom was putting on our birthday parties during the day and then she was getting raided and beat up at night.
The police set up a sting and then I was arrested.
By the time I was 17, the businesses had been closed down and we went into one of her buildings and mattresses were flipped over and there was lingerie thrown everywhere. And at that point, I knew that there was sex happening in that building. Once my mom's massage parlors had been closed down, she started to really fall apart.
Well, after 20 years of ducking and weaving and escaping trouble with the law, Linda's past caught up with her. And when she fell hard. Emily says she was left to pick up the pieces.
My mom didn't go to jail for prostitution, but she did get into drugs.
When I lost everything, the business, my family, I just couldn't take it anymore.
She was living with me at the time. I was trying to keep her sober.
All the rest of my family members wouldn't have anything to do with me, and Emily was the only one that was there.
I was definitely the mother, and she was like my daughter. One time, my mother got into a physical altercation with somebody, and I had to put up my car to take out a loan in order to pay her lawyer's fees. I paid our cell phones, our utilities. I paid for our cars, our car insurance, groceries.
When I was living with Emily, I would call her 10 times a day. I had no one else, and I didn't want to be alone.
My mom would show up at my work 4 to 5 times a week, unannounced.
And you might have worked 10 hours, but I do come over there.
It got so bad that a supervisor had to call my boss, who then had to tell me she needed to leave. I got worried for my job.
Emily is my best friend.
It was difficult for me to tell her to leave because I felt guilty.
She's all I have.
I'm at a point in my life where I don't have anything else to give, but yet I still never say no to her.
Well, Emily, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You say your mother didn't go to jail, but she just self-medicated, started doing drugs, kept doing drugs. Do you think she gets the impact of what she's done?
You know, there's little glimpses where I feel like she sees it, but then it all comes crashing down, especially if I ever say no to her.
Okay. So you're being held emotional hostage. Mm-hmm. How does she make you pay?
I mean, she affects me just in her everyday emotion. So in those circumstances, it might be, she is diagnosed bipolar. So it might be that she has a total freak out and starts calling me every name in the book, blows up my phone and not in a good way. Tells me I'm a horrible person, I'm a horrible daughter. So I either have to endure that or in my mind, I sit there and think, well, what's gonna happen if I don't do it?
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.